Bud should get paid for that, because he's the driver of last choice. And if you want your roads clean, I think it's a small thing, small amount of money to pay a good man.
I don't think we're disagreeing with that, we're just trying to make sure we do it the right way, so we don't get in trouble.
Well, I don't think, I don't think we can do it all at once. We need to find that FEMA document.
Yeah, right.
So that all other department heads, when they work in an emergency situation, it's a declared state of emergency, we have a way to compensate them even though they're salaried. Okay.
For that.
But this is, right, this is a different type of, this isn't declared state of emergency. This is snow operations.
Snow operations. And I agree, Beverly just said it. So why don't, for now,
Until we get a policy.
until we get a policy in place, let's allow them to use snow and ice to do whatever overtime is necessary.
Right.
That would seem to be the,
Be frugal.
But it wouldn't, it can't just be for Bud, it's gotta be for any department head. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
What you wanna call hourly exempt or whatever.
Right.
well, we gotta figure out what.
Yes.
I just, is it gonna be a blanket for all department heads, really?
Yeah.
Well, why should it if this is specifically for snow and ice?
Snow and ice.
I mean,
Well, what I'm saying,
It's a
Around
department,
doing snow
but it's
and
a
ice.
department head, and I think it needs to just be clear.
yes,
Chris, what about the fire chief who's working all kinds of hours on rescues that you don't pay?
He has a
I mean,
contract.
not that I disagree with Bud,
He has a
because
contract.
I think Bud's worth every dime that he gets, all right? But point being is, I think you have to look, you know, if you were in state, you have to look at all the positions and say what you have. You can't just take one, because I think that's what's happened with the town light department. The town light department has their own thing going up there. Okay, and we're paying for it. Maybe we shouldn't be, maybe we should be, I don't know. I think it needs to be looked at.
yes.
Yes, Virginia, the fire chief does have a contract. However, when he works around the clock during the ice storm, what happened was, he got no reimbursement either. I mean, he worked 3 days straight, I know, around the clock, and got no reimbursement. Just like Bud.
Yeah, that would be the other, that's why we have to find the FEMA
That's
thing.
right, that has
That's
to
the
be
FEMA.
predicated on the FEMA policy.
Exactly.
And I stopped, a student got $400. Look at the wages, a student got $400, and then I stopped. Look at the book, see who got paid.
Going to
Try to
school.
report, student,
Kind of like that.
$400, and I can tell you.
Okay, but he's not a manager, he's not a head of a department.
No, but a student got $400 out of it.
A lot of people did, but
Well, I think.
Okay, let's stay on the subject.
One thing I just try to make clear about this, that I recall about this FEMA policy. The town, you're still gonna have to meet, if the town still wants to pay their department heads for going up and beyond of their normal day, their work day, the FEMA policy is so that you can get reimbursed.
reimbursement, I understand.
So, when, you know, say, well, we need that FEMA policy, not to do what
Not-
we're talking about.
Right, that's two
presently
different,
right
that's
now.
Julie said, it's two different issues.
I just wanna see the town get reimbursed, if you're able to get reimbursed.
Right.
Hopefully, we'll never
Right,
have
so
another
we need
big
to
ice.
find that and accept that so we can get reimbursements. That's understood.
Yeah, I agree with Bud. I mean, the guy's given, I don't know how many years, but probably in his eyes, too many. Should get compensated for it, but I think I'd like for you to maybe elaborate a little bit more, as you mentioned, another employee would come back if we initiated this policy.
Yeah. Well, he's a department head in another department in town, but he doesn't
Okay.
plow anymore.
So, just going by like what Bud had said, I know at the last meeting, I think he said tonight too, but Bud looks at every snow as an emergency. I think we're gonna be, and this isn't against Bud, because I think we need to find a way to do it, but we need to do it evenly, or say, where is it? Is it a real emergency? Or was a half-inch of snow considered an emergency? To me, just tell people to slow down. Because I think what's gonna happen, and I'm not pointing this at Bud, I think there's gonna be some serious abuse
Overuse.
that's gonna happen real fast.
Exactly.
And it's gonna get out of
That's
control.
what I said, when
and we're gonna-
necessary.
We're gonna be broken than we already are. So you need to figure out what the hell the policy is first before you enact it just on a hypothetical. Because I'm afraid that this other person you're talking about, and I don't even care who it is, they're gonna come back to work now because Bud's fighting for them not knowing it, and now one of Bud's employees is gonna get less hours because of it. Because somebody's gonna try to pork the system. I can already see it happening.
First of all, I'm not gonna allow that to happen. You and you guys are gonna come in first, before me. I don't care I'm not coming in till all the union guys are in and on the job. As far as this other employee, I'm not sure whether he's salary or hourly in his
I
department.
think he's same as you, but I'm
You
not
know,
positive.
I'm not really sure how that worked,
That
but,
same murky personnel policy
but
thing.
that got changed too, you know, for him, because when they made up the part-time plowers list, there was a difference in pay between, you know, that, because it was outside of the highway department. I am in the highway department, I was
Right.
outside the highway department, so there was a
There had to be a
policy put
blended
in
rate and all
place,
that other
and it was
stuff.
gonna drop him
Quiet,
down.
please.
Drop him down dollar-wise dramatically, and he just said, it ain't worth my while to come in.
Yeah.
So what is the fair way to do this? To pay time and a half overtime, or to pay a stipend to them for coming in? How do we?
Well, I think we need to figure out what he is. If he's a hourly exempt, that usually means if they get paid extra, it's still straight time. If he's salary, then we have to write a whole new rule. And, but we know he's not regular hourly, because he is expected to do
Right.
his job, and he gets paid for 40 hours. But he could be, that could be hourly exempt. So we need to figure out what is, so to speak.
And I believe in one thing, everybody here, I believe in
Watch it.
equal work, equal pay,
I understand what you're saying. Do.
you know?
And we need to do it quick, so that, you know, snow's coming.
There are some other towns that, you know, that
Under
we
next
found
week.
that with a little bit of research that pays a stipend, and he gets a stipend on top of his salary, and it's over in Hubbardston, you know, and he can't exceed this, I believe it was like a $6,000 cap. You know.
And that wouldn't work for you?
Well, all I'm saying is this, instead of paying me a stipend, I know it was kind of talked about, you know, there was a figure that was put out there that I would get a figure for a snowstorm coming in, whether I worked 1 hour or whether I worked 40 hours on that snowstorm. I have a problem coming in and taking advantage of that stipend. If I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna plow 3.5 hours, 4 hours, the whole town's done and I'm going home, and I get this big stipend, it's like, no, I just don't think that's fair. Pay me for what I work. I'm not gonna drag it out, I never have. I wanna go home. I wanna plow the roads, I wanna get them safe, I wanna get the town safe, and I wanna go home. That's what I wanna do. And that's what we do with the highway department now. There's no hanging around, there's no dragging it out so everybody gets an extra couple hours. It's like, get in,
What I'm
Do our
saying is,
service
what are
for
you
them.
expecting? Hour for hour on a regular hourly basis, or are you expecting time and a half? That's what, how are you looking at that?
I was looking at what the highway department gets paid. If we're paying somebody on the highway department, then why should I come in and work for straight time, in all honesty?
Because for years, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I wanted to get
All right.
to Dave. Dave?
Well, I'd just like to make 2 points. One is that Bud's fair, honest, and he speaks the truth when he talks about what he wants and what he does for the town. My concern, and the second thing was, my concern is if other departments don't get what another town would offer them, buy by fire chief, buy by this one, buy by that one, we have to compete, basically, what I'm trying to get to.
Compete if you have enough
This would
money.
be part of that. Right.
Time and a half.
You look at the police department, when guys, you train them, 50 grand to train them, a year later, they're gone somewhere else. That's very expensive.
Do we have any motions? I don't think so.
Not right now.
I mean, we can make this a temporary thing until we can, like, figure it all out. So at least, if we do, I don't think we're gonna get snow in the next week, but we may get it in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We don't meet again until for 2 weeks. We meet on the 3rd, so.
So if we say, if it's necessary for him to come in, who deems whether it's necessary?
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Well, who calls you guys in? Is it the police department?
All right, this is how it works at the highway department. We get called out when it's time to treat the roads.
Okay.
So if there's an inch or an inch and a half, or maybe 2 inches, depends, snow event. And sanding and salting the roads does the trick and it gets the roads clean fine. When it becomes a plowable amount, that's when I'm activated.
Okay.
So the foreman calls me if we know it's a known gonna be a plowable amount, he will call me in because every road, all 72 miles needs to be scraped. We don't just scrape main roads and go home and leave the secondaries to fend for themselves. So that's when it becomes necessary.
So then I would move that as a temporary measure until we get all of this sorted out, that Bud gets paid, well, we have to say that all managers, Bud gets paid, because his is gonna come out of snow and ice,
Well,
so,
this is only we're only talking, I think, for snow and ice right now.
For snow and ice
All right.
operations.
all right, so that Bud gets paid the same as everyone else when it's necessary for him to go out.
You might want, oh, sorry.
Go
You might not want to use name, you might want to use title.
That the highway superintendent.
Right, I'm looking for what I'm looking for is support from this board for operations within my department. I'm not talking about other departments. If there's a water break, they'll deal with theirs, and sewer breaks, they'll deal with theirs. So, you know, I'm just looking for the highway department, snow and ice operations in the winter
But
time.
before we make a permanent policy, we have to sort out who's,
You can do that.
who is what.
Yeah,
So-
I just didn't want to get into March and we're talking about this.
Well, we can try to do it before then.
It's all right, we
So you made a motion.
I hope not. I would like to see it like last year, but
And I will second Virginia's motion.
And any of this overtime will come out of snow and ice.
correct. It would only be overtime. Straight time, you get a freebie.
Okay,
So
so
it can only snow
the
between.
motion is that for snow and ice events, that the
Oh, well,
highway superintendent needs to be called in and will be compensated at the same way his employees are compensated.
That's fair.
Okay.
And it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion?
Same
As his highway employees, if it's overtime, he gets overtime.
Oh, okay.
What was it snow, what was the motion, just snow and ice?
Yes.
If you
Yeah.
want snow and ice
Yeah.
and/or emergencies as far as.
Well, we're gonna deal with that at a separate
We're
time.
gonna deal with the other emergencies.
Yep. We gotta find that FEMA policy and then we'll adopt that. That'll be for all department heads because then we get
We're not
reimbursed.
gonna pay for the hurricane budget.
Well, game ain't over yet, but
Okay.
I remind the board, I did work 8.5 hours on Hurricane Sandy, and I did bring that up at a previous meeting.
Any other
Thank you.
discussion?
Just thought I'd let you know that.
Seeing none. Patrick? Virginia?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Good. Over your time.
Thanks.
All right. Amendments 2 and 3 from Weston.
See, Tom here, are you with the 250?
No.
Oh, okay. Tom?
Act on amendments 2 and 3 from Weston and Sampson contract for design and engineering of Back Bay project, phase 4, it says.
Mr. Pinkpack cannot be here this evening
Okay.
and has asked me to carry water for him. I will
Go
do
for
so because they have been very helpful to us.
Okay.
We are doing amendments to phase 5, phase 4 and 5?
Phase 5 and 6.
5, 6 doesn't exist yet, though. They're both amendments, they're amendments number 2 and number 3 of phase 5 of the contract. There are 2 amendments because they perform 2 specifically different tasks.
Okay.
The first amendment is to actually pay all those change orders that have occurred under the contract. It is appropriate, it is work that was ordered during the course of the project, and it is covered under the project grant. The second amendment that's being requested is to pay Weston and Sampson Engineering under this existing contract for the design work that they will do for the so-called, the purported Phase 6, which does not exist yet. Remember that we asked for $18,000 to have them design the so-called Phase 6, so that we can apply for it next month as a completed design. And we're amending the current contract to allow us to pay them for that design fee under the current contract. Again, there are monies available under the contract to do that.
Okay?
So I will make a motion to award a contract amendment number 2 to Weston and Sampson in the amount of $18,000.
Second. Oh, sorry.
I was getting it.
No.
For the engineering and design of Memorial Street.
That's actually, that's amendment 3.
That's
isn't it?
amendment
That's three, okay.
Fine.
Street.
Why does it say 2 up here? All right, I'll change it to 3.
The 18,000 is number 3.
All right. All right, I don't know.
Second.
So we're doing amendment 3 first.
All right,
Yeah.
yeah, because
So the motion's been made and seconded for amendment 3 for the Fisher Street contract to do the design work for Memorial Street under that existing contract. And not having to do another 18,000.
Objection.
What?
Conflict of interest, and one of you can't vote on it, because it's land, butter, on land
You're
and
right.
property.
You're right, I forgot.
She knows.
But she knows.
I won't vote on it.
Okay.
I won't vote on it.
She didn't vote on it before, so.
But she just voted then.
She didn't vote, she made the motion.
I made a motion.
Oh, she
I said I
seconded
made
it.
the motion. I'm not voting on it.
Chris.
Any other discussion on amendment 3? Seeing none. Patrick?
Yes.
Virginia?
Abstain.
Julie?
yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay, amendment 2.
This is what messed me up when I was reading through it.
Yeah, this is, it says it differently.
No, it says 2 up here.
It does say.
Then that's what I just wrote.
Right.
And you told me that was
You're right.
3. So I don't know. I don't know who did the numbering, but it got messed up. So what is 2?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, because that's got, say, 18,000.
Right. So I was reading through this and that's why. Right.
Well, so, was the one we just voted for the Memorial Street one?
Yeah. And you abstained,
So
so
that
you're
is
good.
amendment 2.
So it is 2. She was right to begin with. The strange numbering systems here.
Okay, so what then
Right,
is amendment?
so
So, amendment 3.
Amendment 3 was to do something with Fisher Street, right? Okay, which is phase 4. Don't get confused. All right, request for, is it 18 again? No. All right. This is Fisher Street. Fisher Street. Fisher Street.
New proposal.
Fisher Street. Where's the actual?
Scope of services.
Okay, here it is.
76,000.
The review committee and CPO recommend the board of selectmen make this contract amendment award to Weston Sampson in the amount of $76,000. Fee is broken down, $36,000 for engineering services and up to $40,000 for clerk of work services. The source of funds for this contract amendment is the FY12 CDBG grant. The proposed contract fee up to amount is equal to the amount budgeted in the grant for these services, so funds are available.
I will move that.
It says here amendment 3.
Yeah, so the first one was 2, I apologize.
It's okay. Okay.
And this one is 3.
All right,
Okay,
so
it's
this
been
is for
motioned by-
Fisher Street.
Yes, it's been
Okay.
motioned by Julie,
Second.
seconded by Virginia. Any discussion? Pat? Yes. Virginia?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I have no property on Fisher Street.
Right, you're good. With the chair to sign?
That's probably a good idea, yes.
Chair sign, okay with you?
Yes.
Virginia?
Yes.
And Julie?
Yes.
Okay, this this is the award for the FY13 grant, right? The next one, number 14?
The grant writer.
Grant writer. Want me to just read this?
Sure.
On October 30th, 2012, at 2:53 PM, Jeff Ritter and Nancy Paradise opened the only bid package that was received for the request for qualification for professional assistance while preparing the FY 2013 Mass CDBG Program CDF1 grant application. The proposal was received from Community Opportunities Group, Inc. in Boston. Based on the criteria and scope of services set out in the RFQ, Community Opportunities Group, Inc.'s qualifications have received all of the required paperwork, and COG, Inc., having proved themselves as very capable in preparing CDF grant applications for the town of Templeton, fiscal year 2006 and 2008 through 2012, and the FY07 HDSP grant application. I hereby submit the firm of Community Opportunity Group, Inc., to the board for the contract award for professional assistance while preparing the FY 2013 Mass CDBG Program CDF1 grant application for the proposed amount of $9,500 to include $6,500 for the preparation of the grant application, reimbursable costs not to exceed $500, and $2,500 for preparation of the environmental review record.
Okay. I move that we award the Community Opportunities Group
What's it cost?
$9,500.
Yep.
That's it, right? Okay.
For grant
For grant
writing
writing services, yeah.
Second.
Yeah?
Okay, well, we had do you want discussion?
Yep.
Okay. This is to write the grant to apply for, okay, the CDBG grant to try to fix Memorial Street. This is what we refer to as Phase 6, but it doesn't exist yet, okay? Because it hasn't been applied for yet.
Thank you, Julie, for the clarification.
It is a little confusing.
Yeah, just three are going on at once right now.
Okay.
It's worth it.
Well, no, I just wanted to make sure
Very successful.
I understood that you're absolutely right.
Okay, so we do have a motion to accept this, so, this proposal, and it has been seconded by Pat. Any other discussions? Seeing none. Pat?
Yes.
Virginia?
I have to abstain, this is for...
Okay. Julie?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay. This is from, I have a letter here from Al Mayo. Actually, I think I have. Jeff informed us of this at our last meeting, but we took no action on it. And there's nobody here from Zero Parks and Cemetery tonight, I don't think, right?
Terminated their eligibility, that's laid off.
Cemetery and Parks Department is requesting a policy change for 1 year. The department would like to lay off their seasonal help for the winter. This was originally the policy, but this practice was changed a few years ago. Presently, these positions are terminated. We then advertise for a winter call-in position. This costs money. In an attempt to save money, we are requesting to lay off for the following reason. Budgets are tight. This gives flexibility to call these employees on an as-needed basis for storms, burials, and covering for an employee absence. These employees have in the past been called in, such as the 2008 ice storm or burials, fill in for a sick employee, other jobs through the winter, and shoveling town building and plowing cemetery roads. We would like to utilize the positions to the best benefit of the town. So, instead of firing his part-time summer help, he wants to lay them off.
Not going to address any fiscal impact. There is zero net financial impact to the town. When you terminate an employee, they are eligible for and typically file and receive unemployment compensation. When you lay them off, that is equally true. The only advantage of this policy is, as said in Alan's memorandum to you, it will be less expensive for the town to call someone to temporary work over the winter if we need them. It leaves them at the call of the cemetery supervisor. Their unemployment compensation is the same regardless. It might be extended a few weeks if they wind up working a few weeks during the winter. And this is mostly a needed staffing change within the cemetery department due to ongoing staffing issues.
Any discussion before we take a motion? Excuse me. I would accept the motion to allow his part-time workers to be laid off for this winter instead of terminated? Yes.
This seasonal.
Seasonal?
Seasonal.
Is that what they are, seasonal workers? Okay. I was looking for the right
Chris, I have
word.
a question.
Yes. Well,
Are they part-time, or are they full-time season?
it just says seasonal.
The full-time.
They're full-time seasonal in our summer.
So they still qualify for workman's comp, I mean,
Unemployment.
unemployment insurance?
Either way.
Because they're full-time?
Yeah. I will make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes.
Yeah, it has to make it a one-time shot. I think the board ought to make it a policy. It's saving money this year, next year, the year after. Just my thought.
Not an unreasonable thing. I think Alan was sort of a try before you buy, let's try it for a year and see how well it works and then, but your point's well taken.
Based on what you
Yeah.
said, it's zero no matter which way you do it, so why
Yeah.
not make a policy so you don't have this problem in the future? Fix it now.
It's up to the board if they want to, whoever made the amendment.
Well, I didn't have the 1 year in the motion.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. It was purposely vague.
Sorry, Julie, I didn't pick up on that.
I didn't either. All right, so it's, the 1 year's not in the motion, and it will be ongoing until such time that it gets changed.
Changed again.
So, any other discussion? See none. Pat?
Yes.
Virginia?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
All right. Discuss 2014 budget guidance and recommendation. Jeffrey, you're up.
I am looking for the board to simply take the measure or the temperature of the town's financial position and indicate by way of a motion, a sense of the board, a measure of what you think the fiscal 14 position of the town will be, so as to allow me to go out and start department by department budget discussions based on some policy guidance from the board. To be more specific, the advisory board, I understand, will be having such a discussion in a couple of weeks. We're going to have it, I guess, Wednesday night, but they couldn't get a quorum, so they postponed a week. But they will be having a discussion and determining their best advice for the town as we look forward to fiscal 14. And I'm seeking the guidance of my employer, the Board of Selectmen, on the same thing. In Washington DC, they do this about this time of the year. In Boston, Massachusetts, the state does it about this time of the year. They set the stage for the coming fiscal year. Do we think town revenues are going up? In which case, we can be a little more flexible. Do we think town revenues are going down? In which case, we have to tighten the screws another notch? Or do we think town revenues are level? In which case, we will try to keep it steady as it goes. So just a general statement of your guidance or direction to me as a policy statement, and then I'll take it out and work with individual department heads to implement that as we build our budget for next year.
From everything being said online, I wouldn't expect it to be better in 14. I don't know that we could reasonably expect it to be worse either, so I think at very least, we have to move on level until we find out any different.
Have we heard anything from our accountant?
Nothing specific. We have heard a little bit from our elected legislative officials, and you all hear the same press reports that state budget revenues, I should say state revenues, tax revenues are down. the governor of Massachusetts is taking a look at fiscal 13 with the possibility of the so-called dreaded 9C cuts in this fiscal year, because the revenues are not meeting forecasts statewide. They're $926 million below expectations. That could pick up. It could pick up. It's just a dip in the road. The question is, are we going to continue to sink, or is it going to pick up? So it's kind of a vague and somewhat iffy picture right now in New England and in Massachusetts in particular.
I think we would be fortunate if we stayed at level. I think we're going to take a hit, whether it's on the state level or the federal level. I don't see Congress getting its act together to avoid the automatic budget cuts that will take place. That's what I see. I don't see any great urgency to break the deadlock in Congress, and that will impact us. It will impact the state. It's going to impact the whole country. And I don't think Templeton will escape that.
So what's the recommendation, Jeff, at this time to plan on levels?
Based on what Jeff just said, I didn't realize that it was that, and Julie's right, though, that's going to be a problem.
Congress is.
So-
This is not binding in the true sense. I just need to go out and negotiate
Right.
based on some direction.
I would guess that if we plan on it being down, then it'll be better if it comes out. It'll be a
Right.
bonus if it comes up a little bit.
Yeah. If you plan for the worst and hope for the best,
Yeah. Maybe we'll meet in the
usually comes
middle.
out a little better.
So I guess, plan for bad.
Yeah. I think looking forward, I don't see how we can reduce hours anymore for the people whom we have.
Right.
We may have to look at regionalization or outsourcing some of the things we have traditionally handled in town.
Reducing staffing.
Yeah. So, I don't know what else to suggest at this point.
Just to catch the rest of the board up too, I'm still working on the possibility of regionalizing the health agent's position. I spent a great deal of time with him the other day, and so we're all coming out on the same page with this. And I'm going to meet with Glenn Eaton from the MRPC this week to see if he can direct us.
So do you want a formal motion, or is that good enough?
As long as everybody on the board endorses the same concept, that's fine. We'll assume a slight down, not a hard down, but a slight down. That means, in my language, 2 or 3% decrease in revenues. That's what we'll start with. We'll plan on that, and then we'll see what happens.
Good.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yep, old business, discuss. Okay. Discuss and act on proposed Board of Selectmen policies and procedures. We have amendments that have been sent in, and they are all here in red. I don't know if
Well, there-
everybody's read them.
There are 2 sets of amendments. I
Yep.
did them first in red, and then Julie went and did it, and so there's another pinkish color.
Yep.
Yeah, it was blue on my computer.
And then there's comments.
Yeah. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, the commentary that Julie made, I'm fine with. There was one place where she said we ought to discuss it a little. We probably ought to start there. She said,
On page 5.
which,
Is that page 5, the bylaw?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, our bylaw says one thing about the town clerk appointing immediately after every town meeting. In writing, all members of committees who may be elected or appointed at such meeting.
Nothing's appointed at town meeting.
Well, that's what I don't get. But then why do we have these bylaws? I just don't get them. But it does exist. So it's Article 3, Section 2. Yeah, but the moderator is the one who appoints it, not the town clerk. It says, Section 2, "It shall be the duty of the town clerk immediately after every town meeting to notify in writing all members of committees who may be elected or appointed at such meeting, stating the business upon which they are to act and the names of persons composing the committees." Maybe if there was a committee that was voted on at town meeting, right, that would be the committee.
Like a build committee or something, like that's what it takes when you make a vote.
Because, all committees we do at a regular
Well, we
select
usually
meeting.
do under
Right.
the selectmen umbrella, so that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Have we ever acted on any committee on the floor to?
Well, yeah, it wasn't the government study
The
committee.
government, what about the municipal building committee? Was that formed? I know it was disbanded on town floor, but was
Right.
it formed on town floor?
No, I think that was formed in 2006.
I think it was formed here.
Yeah. So,
But either way, it's pretty vague, and we don't really.
The bylaw
we
is
don't
vague,
act
and
that
you
way.
haven't followed it, although
Right.
it's quite legit to have town meeting, you go as a board to town meeting, present to the moderator the entire list, the entire slate of appointees for the coming year, and have town meeting act on it, i.e. vote the entire list, and then the clerk swears them in. That's just a kind
That could be-
of a different way of getting this
Right.
done. But I understand you haven't done that traditionally in the
A
last
lot of times we
dozen
don't
years.
even have them, all the people, all the committees
Right.
done by town meeting.
Right.
Because it goes till, the committees all go till the end of June.
No, granted, this is for a July 1 start.
Yeah.
You start with the fiscal year, but you make your appointments early rather than late. Doesn't matter.
if we just keep with tradition, with what we normally do, which is we appoint people to committees as, we try to get them all done at once. I don't. You do an awesome job.
Less work with them.
I just try to get one card with everything on it.
They overflowed this year, so I've got two cards now,
I know.
with many things on them.
Yeah.
I just supplied one list at town floor.
Okay,
One vote,
one vote.
no paperwork.
No paperwork? That'd be awesome.
All right, so on page 1, Julie made a comment, and that's fine with me, not all instances may be dealt with in an open meeting, so we just cross out an open meeting at an appropriate meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, and then next one was on page 4. Inserting the stuff about remote participation, that's
Yeah.
important, we need to get that in there. Do we need to write in there what the qualifications for that are?
I didn't want to add, because that's why I referenced 940 CMR 29.
Okay,
Okay, so
All
in
right.
case that changes,
then,
you don't
yeah,
have to keep changing this. If you
Right.
reference the law for remote participation, then you can.
right.
Question, were there any conditions that we put on that when we adopted it in July? I don't think.
No, we just
So we adopted it as it
yeah.
was, so this would work best.
I thought you had another comment in here that we needed to discuss the role of the coordinator.
I think I put that in the email. I
Oh,
didn't put it in
that
as an
may be.
extra comment.
That may be. Anything particular about that, or?
No, I just didn't know if the,
Selectmen, role of the coordinator, it's the last paragraph from the first
Because I think we also have, as town coordinator, it's chief procurement officer,
Yep.
and what's the other one? There's something else.
Get my card out.
Personnel
Yeah,
administrator.
personnel administrator, that's right. Yeah.
Any other feathers?
Well,
You know,
you know what, that gives you a point.
I don't know, I don't think we can take it out the trash.
So, if you guys have read this and seen what we crossed out and what we added, I think I would make a motion that we go with the resulting.
Capital municipal hearing officer. I'm also. the
And keep in
municipal-
mind, if we find something later on, we can always change it.
Amend it, yeah.
Okay, so James made a motion to accept this with the changes that are in here.
So moved.
Second. Second by Julie?
Yep.
Any other discussion? Seeing none. Pat?
Yes.
Virginia?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I will vote on that.
Before we get to the,
Any other old business?
yeah, well, I'm not sure, I'll put this in old business. We had a telephone call in the office, a resident that was at Kirk's hearing the other day has called Senator Brewer. Here, I'll give you each one of these. Has called Senator Brewer to see if there's anything else that we can do, and I think we pretty much established already that there isn't, but Senator Brewer's comment was that he wanted to have a sense of what the feeling of the Board of Selectmen was before he even attempts to go anywhere with it.
Who wrote the complaint? Who wrote the complaint? Who wrote the Brewer? Who wrote, got to tell you who wrote to him,
It was Molly Payne.
and she works in halfway houses and stuff and complaining when they're at home? Come on, let's call a spade a spade.
Not the type of halfway house she works in. It's different.
I think we could
What,
take this under advisement,
Yeah, I mean-
because this is not something that,
This isn't a halfway house.
this is
Well, he wanted
Totally no different.
he wanted to get a consensus from the Board of Selectmen before he moved ahead, that's all.
I don't know enough about it, I wasn't at the meeting last week.
Discriminating against somebody?
Well, that's why I gave you a brief rundown of what.
The meeting was continued till...
Yeah, I have an announcement about that, actually. I'm gonna read at the end of the
These
meeting.
aren't.
Yeah.
We didn't really get the highlight on,
Normal people.
Quiet, please!
we didn't really get the highlight on planning issues, what the meeting was actually, which it was under the umbrella of the
Yeah.
site plan review, because they didn't have adequate plans for what we needed, but the audience was, the keynote was fully attended, and it was really just we kept the format open for them to, they had their concerns with the potential end users.
So this is kind of a rundown of what's going on.
Yeah, it's a basic.
All right, any
Kirk
other
can
old
answer any
business?
questions you got.
I have a question.
Yes?
The policies and procedures you just adopted, do you want them put on the website?
That's probably not a bad idea.
Finalized and put up,
Yep.
distributed throughout the website.
Clean them up a little,
Thank you.
Please spell check.
take out the,
Any other old business by anybody? Okay. First thing we're gonna do on the new business is the residents of Michael's Lane. We inadvertently forgot to put them on the agenda tonight. They are here, so we are gonna give them 15 minutes. They wanted to talk to us about some issues up there, so we're gonna let them come forward and speak. Who wants to start? I guess you get elected, huh?
How does that always happen?
Homer's gonna represent.
Volunteer.
Really? Well, hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
And thanks for getting us on the agenda. We appreciate that.
Apologize that we forgot you.
Not a problem, not a problem. But, like I said, we can be very brief here, and pretty much, we sent you a little note of what we were concerned about, and that's basically just how the facility's gonna be used, the way it's being developed, the impact it's gonna have on our neighborhood. Because it's actually zoned as a residential neighborhood, despite the fact that it's a park in the middle of it. The deed's very specific as to how the facility's supposed to be used. It's for the youth of Templeton, that's basically what it's for, with preference towards the high school. So things outside of that will probably not be in line with, you know, the specifications with regard to zoning or the deed, or just the use of the Templeton youth. So that's what we're really concerned about, you know, lighting issues, noise, that kind of thing. And I've lived next to the thing for 25 years and have no issue with it. And we were really looking forward to it being developed sooner than this, so. So we're not opposed to this in any way. It's just a matter of how it's going to be done and whether it has negative impact on us. So, like I said, really quickly, you know, the fourth part of this is that it's part of a neighborhood. We would just like it to be developed as it is part of a neighborhood. Like if it was near someplace where you live, we'd like it to be treated that way as well. And there's lots of examples of, you know, how it kind of wasn't. And we're hoping that before it's completely finished, that these kinds of things will be avoided.
I think at the meeting that you folks attended with the rec a couple months ago, I actually spoke with some of you after the meeting outside. I think you ladies might have been there about the lighting and stuff, and I know that was one of your concerns, because when the engineers went up, they marked light, you know, on sticks, they marked light pole on them, and you guys got very concerned in a hurry. And I think I tried to explain then that the reason they did that is when they do their development, they want to do all their work that they need to do at once, so they don't have to go back and do it again. There are no plans for lights going up in the near future, especially on that, you know, on that baseball field, which is closest to the road. And before anything does get done like that, you folks would be notified, and we would have a hearing on it. I think we would have to have a hearing on it, actually. As far as the youth, most of the activities up there are youth of Templeton. The softball tournaments that have been hosted in the last 2 summers have Templeton youth in it. They also have out-of-towners. I know it's busy up there when they have those tournaments, but everything's in the daytime. You know, they're out of there by 7 o'clock at night. Or, you know, when it gets dark, 7:30, 7:45 in June and July. But, you know, we've seen it, and when I was on the rec, actually, the last year I was on rec is when we started that, and we saw that as a good thing for the whole town of Templeton, because they were coming in, they were shopping at our stores, at our, you know, the pizza houses in town. So it wasn't just a Gilman Waite thing, it was a community thing. One of the pizza houses actually vended pizzas up to us at the field, and then they had specials going for the, you know, for the kids and families that they went down there. And there were Templeton youth kids on these teams. We don't do it just for the outside people. We do have town kids, because if we don't host something, they have to travel to every weekend that they play, and they usually are traveling to Lowell, Dracut, sometimes as close as Fitchburg and Leominster, but mostly they're up in the Lowell, Dracut, and, you know, for them to have a home weekend, it's kind of nice for them and their families. I don't know what other concerns I can...
Well, it's not even a concern, but this is just from my point of view, is the fact that this is a facility that's been deeded to the youth of Templeton. And there really should be more effort to get activities and, you know, facilities for people that aren't involved in team sports and things like that, so it's actually a recreational place.
Well, we have the walking path, it's up, that's all completed. If you walk that whole, outside all the fields, the new and old fields, that's a half-mile walking track. It's all finished, it's all got the stone dust on it. The playground will be going up in the spring. Alan is trying to get state bids on that, because it'll be cheaper that way, if he gets in through the state. Right now, they don't have any thing on their website. He's not here, he's on vacation this week, so he's not here to speak. But I know he talked to me recently about that. They don't have anything on their website right now, so he can't go bidding on any of that equipment, but he does plan on getting that playground up, next spring. And the new fields, they started using those a little bit this year for the younger soccer kids. And the high school boys soccer team practiced up there every day on the new fields. Another year of growing and seeding, and those new fields should be in full swing next year for the soccer kids, and they can get them off the softball field, which means we can do some work over there.
Okay. Now, one of the other issues that it doesn't have an effect on me per se, but the folks that live at either end of it, whether it has an entrance or the emergency access there, that's kind of something that you would rather speak to.
Talking about the emergency gate? Yeah, Al's working on that as well. He had talked to whoever the neighbor was that said they were going to help him with that. And he has told me that if they don't come up with a plan or a design, he's just going to do it himself. He will have that up there next year as well. Because he wants that gate in so kids can't go flying through there. Because it's, when we have a lot of kids up there playing ball, to have somebody just go flying through just because they know they can, that's not safe for the parking lots and stuff either, so, and it's not safe for your residents. So he does want to get that gate up as soon as he can. So.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If I were a resident of the area, and I'm not, I would be concerned primarily about parking, noise, and lighting. I think those are very reasonable concerns for abutters, and maybe if there is a community group or an interest that could get together and draw up its specific concerns through both the Recreation Commission and the Cemetery and Parks Department and the Select Board and the extensive regulatory apparatus we have in this little town, we can come up with a set of regulations that hopefully would address, ameliorate many, not all, because the world's not perfect, but many of those concerns can be addressed. I'll make one up. Ban parking after a certain time of day, 6 p.m. You just put signs up, that's it, the police enforce it, whatever. Lighting can be downlit rather than in your face, and it can be terminated at a certain time of day, 9, 10 p.m., whatever. So it's not that there will be no lighting or there will be no parking, but if you could get your concerns centralized and solidified, the town will be able to work with you
that's more what
make
we're
it.
looking for, specifics.
I've
what you can actually do.
talked to the chief about the parking, because when we first started this 5 years, 6 years ago, I had told you that we were going to try to get no parking on that left-hand side of Michael's Lane. And the chief had told me at the time that he didn't see a need to put no parking signs up. So that's something we'd have to address with the chief. At that time, he said there was enough room there that we could have parking on the side of the street. So he wouldn't do anything about it. We can talk to him. There's plenty of parking in the parking lots. It really is. It's people just don't want to park here and walk to that field, but it's not that bad.
Put up a fence and a no parking sign and they walk.
I have another.
Yes.
You're saying on the rental, I'm saying, we see on the website, NASA is renting out the field.
To anybody.
To all the teams from out of state. And you say that is for the town youth?
Well, no, what you're getting it wrong. What NSA is doing is they are hosting a tournament up there.
Right.
So they post it so that any team that wants to play in that tournament can come up. But we always have local teams
It's not the
up
town
there.
of Templeton.
But we have local teams.
We have local
kids
teams
up
that
there.
play in those tournaments.
We have kids that play on guarded teams. We have kids that play on Winchendon teams. Last couple of years, we actually had a Templeton team itself.
But what does it say on the deed?
Huh?
What does it say on the deed? Does it say NASA can do that?
It says just for
Of
the
course it doesn't, but
No, it
it's
doesn't.
for the youth of Templeton, and they are youth playing. I mean, you can't be that nitpicky about it, really. I don't think.
I think they had a great design when they put it up there. There was all trees around,
I
of
mean,
course, too.
you gotta remember too, when that deed was made, there was no Narragansett Regional High School.
Right.
Yeah, but the deed is done.
So,
It's
exactly,
done.
but
It's a legal
it's
document.
still being used by the youth of Templeton.
The youth at
And not
Templeton.
NAS it.
You know, that, again, that's being nitpicky, if you ask me.
Well, I want to be nitpicky because I don't like seeing trash all over the place, noise, cars
And,
driving by.
you know, I heard you say that at the rec meeting, and we have enough barrels up there. I can't believe there's that much trash up there,
I walk around with my dog, there's trash everywhere.
so. But Well,
Every day, Chris.
As a resident of another community, which is Gardner, I lived next door to Pulaski Playground for well over 30 years. They had regulations. They didn't have as much parking as I saw in Gilman Way. So I see this as a much less of an issue. They had regulations, they had a tennis court, the lights had to be out, and it's much more congested, by the way, Pulaski Playground, if you're aware of the area, than Gilman Way.
Yep.
They had regulations that the lights would be out by 10 o'clock for their tennis courts and for their basketball courts at 9 o'clock. That basketball court was right outside of my bedroom. And I didn't see it as an issue because I saw that there was a lot of youth that took care of the care and played basketball rather than get into trouble over the years. I saw it as a much more positive influence for the community than a negative portion of it. And like I said, the parking was just, I mean, they had softball tournaments there also. And if you're aware of that particular playground,